Good morning, everyone. My name is Philip McCoolin. I'm the Senior Vice President here at Define Learning. And welcome to our really special webinar this morning titled Supporting Career Initiatives Through PBL in the Great State of Alabama. Your presenters this morning are Mary Clifford, Director of Midwestern USA Partnerships here at Define Learning, and our wonderful guests from Chickasaw City Schools, which are led by Assistant Superintendent Michelle Eller. We are extremely honored to have you all here with us today, and thanks so much for taking 30 minutes out of your incredibly hectic schedule during these times to attend this special webinar, which are featuring the wonderful work from Chickasaw Schools. So a couple of housekeeping items for everybody. Please type all questions in the chat window, and I'll definitely be monitoring those for you, and we'll get back to you on those answers. Also, very important, if you're looking to receive PD credit for attending this webinar, click on the link that's in the chat window. You'll see it there, and fill out that form, and that will take care of that for you. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Mary Clifford and let her kick things off. So Mary, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Philip, and thanks everyone for joining us, especially a special thanks to Dr. Eller and Megan Nichols and Michelle Phillips, teachers from Chickasaw Elementary and Chickasaw Middle School, who are going to talk to us today a little bit about how they've been using defined learning and how they plan to use it in our remote or blended learning environment we all find ourselves in. So today, just to kind of give you a preview of a little agenda, what we're going to do, Dr. Eller is going to talk a little bit about her goals and initiatives in Chickasaw and the governor's initiatives in Alabama, and how defined learning kind of helped become a solution to those goals initiatives. And then we will walk through Megan's use in an elementary class in 5th grade and Michelle's use of defined learning in her with her middle school students. And I'll take you to Define Learning at that site and kind of walk through some of their tasks and ask Megan and Michelle to talk us through how they used it. But I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Eller first to kind of tell us a little bit about Chickasaw City Schools.
Good morning. Thank you, each of you, for joining us today. I'm going to be very brief in what I explained to you with the background of our school system, because I really want to give you the opportunity to hear from our teachers and really see the program in action. We are a very small city school district. We are on the outskirts of Mobile. We have a early learning center, and these are our last year's demographics, with 62 students. Our elementary school housed grades K through 5 with 539 students. Our middle school and our high school are both in the same building. We have 260 middle school students, approximately 232 high school students. And then last year was our very first year to have a statewide career tech focused virtual school called Alabama Destinations Career Academy. Last year we had K through 9 students, approximately 541. This year we are expanding to 2,000 students and have also expanded to include 10th grade. As you can see from our ethnicity, the bulk of our students are African American. Then we have a smaller population of Caucasian and a very slim population of Hispanic. And that will give you a little background of where we are as a district with our demographics. In 2017, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about Governor Ivey's challenge for Alabama, so that you can see really what spurred us to look for our own motto for our system, and really what spurred us to look for defined learning. So Mary, if you could go to that next slide.
I'm seeing it. Are you seeing that slide?
Perfect. So
okay.
In 2017, Governor Ivey challenged Alabama with what is called the Strong Start, Strong Finish Education Initiative. And this initiative focused on 3 stages of education. One being early childhood education, expanding our pre-K programs. The second is the expansion of computer science in middle and high school. And the third is workforce preparedness. And as a result of this initiative, we as Chickasaw City Schools rebranded our district to be a career-ready district. On the next slide, you'll see our motto, which is preparing all students to be successful the day after graduation. That is on the next slide, Mary.
Okay, perfect. Are you guys seeing that?
No, not yet.
Okay, I'm seeing it. Chickasaw City School motto, district initiatives.
Yes.
Yep, I do see it.
Yep.
Perfect.
All right. So in cultivating this career readiness to ensure that we are a career ready district, we began looking at ways that we could put in career exploration in our pre-K through 5th grade, how we could look at putting in career readiness in our 6th through 8th grade, and career preparation in 9th through 12th grade. And I had the privilege of meeting Mary and seeing Defined Learning in action last October, and was so impressed with the way that it aligned not only to careers, but also to content area standards, so that my teachers would not be asked to do something additionally. They would be asked to bring in a project that exposed students to careers simultaneously while working on those key content area standards. So I'm going to allow them an opportunity to really explain and let you explore what that looks like in the classroom, and let them also tell you a little bit about what Defined Learning is and really why it meets the needs that we have as the district to ensure that all of our students are ready for the day after graduation. Thank you, Mary.
All right, perfect, Michelle. Thanks so much for sharing that information with us. Defined Learning, just a little bit about who we are. Michelle has kind of hit on a few snippets of who we are, but Defined Learning is really that library of PBL units that are all aligned to the standards and really ask students to apply what they're learning from their classrooms into real world authentic situations. And the way we do that is all through the lens of a career. So it is pre-K through 12, it is in English and Spanish, and really just helps students in every district, you know, really discover their passions, choose a pathway, and be ready, like Michelle said, the day after graduation. So a little bit about who we are. I'm gonna now go into Defined Learning, and you should be seeing my home page here for Defined Learning. Philip, can you see that okay?
I see your slide, Mary, that says, what is Defined Learning?
Okay. All right, now do you see Defined Learning homepage?
No, I still see your slide.
Okay. Says I'm sharing. Let me go back and see if I can get it to come up now. Do you just see Defined Learning now, Philip?
I just see the slide. Yep, I still see the slide, Mary.
Okay. Philip, can you pull up the site then, and I can kind of prompt
Sure.
Megan and Michelle? Sorry about that. I'm looking at Defined Learning homepage. My slides are collapsed, so.
Maybe open them up and collapse them again, Mary, while I'm pulling this up. Sorry, everybody, for the brief technical glitch here. And let's just see if, okay, I see your screen now. It's there.
Okay, perfect. So what we're looking at here is our Defined Learning homepage. Like I said, it is K through 12. There's lots of different ways to search. You can search by content areas, but they are all cross-curricular. You can search by the different grade bands. I'm going to go into 3 through 5 and press Find Projects, and then I'm going to show what Megan used in her classroom. But you can see the titles of the careers are typically the titles of the performance tasks are typically the careers that they're embarking on. So they could be an aircraft designer, an arborist, a backpack designer, a baker, just a plethora of different careers highlighted here for students starting in pre-K. And we're going to look at aquarium designer. And Megan, she had used this in her 5th grade classroom. So Megan, if you wouldn't mind starting, want to give us a brief explanation of how you use defined learning in your classroom with your 5th graders with using aquarium designer.
Okay, absolutely. Thank you. One of the things that we did as we introduced this and worked with it last year was we introduced it to the students' whole group. And it was definitely a project-based, but it incorporated all of the content standards that we needed. It's our math, it was our science, our technology, our ELA, and the kids really loved how easy it was to navigate the websites on their own. So it really paints the picture of what their steps are to begin with, like set the stage, you'll see that on your left side, and explore the background. And everything collapses to where the students can just go through and click what it was they need to revisit in order to get their project done. They really loved working together. And at this point, it was less of the students who you see working on their own and liking to be independent. These students actually like to see what each other brought to the table and what they could do to make it bigger. And they built off of each other. So we talked about, making labeled sketches in math and actually building and measuring our volume. And when we saw the video of the man talking, we really opened the eyes of the student, that all aquariums are not just a rectangle. I mean, he has designed aquariums that are a variety, and students really got the idea that they could do something really big and spectacular if they're trying to sell this idea to an aquarium. Also, time management was the only struggle we had, and that's to say that because the kids really enjoyed it so much. They didn't want to stop the design. They didn't want to stop building. They didn't want to stop measuring the volume and how they can change it to be different than their competitors because they wanted to make the sale. So what it took was a lot of team teacher time. We had to really dissect the project. We switched classes in 5th grade. So what ended up happening was the ELA teacher would take a portion of it, like she would take the photo story, and I would take the volume measurement, and then we would talk about the actual fish that lived in the aquarium. So are we going to have a salt water? Are we going to have a fresh water? What does that mean for the environment inside of the aquarium? What kind of filters are we looking at? What's the expense report going to look like? So all the teachers came together for a week and a half to 2 weeks for one product. And it really put the teachers back on the same page. We were working towards one cause, but we didn't have to do separate things to get separate grades. Everybody was able to get multiple grades from the same project. Also, teachers, we used Google Classroom as our platform. So if kids went home and they wanted to ask questions specific to the project, they could just shoot us an email, or we could see what they were working on from home as well. When the schools closed down because of COVID, this made it easy for them to continue what they were already working on. Like I said, we use Google Classroom, so we post the link up there for them to use, and they can revisit certain things that they want to look at again, and they can communicate to their classmates and find out what their next steps are. It's easy organized for the kids, really put the teacher as the facilitator, which was really what we're trying to get to. Let it be them. They're independent. They're guiding the lesson. They're guiding the project. And there's a lot of different samples that they came up with. So it's a great website. It's a wonderful way to get kids to think outside of the box as well.
And Megan, I love how you did it cross-curricularly. So that's really, I think one of the reasons our founders built this, right? As we know, all of our jobs are cross-curricular, right? We rarely are in any silos anymore. So giving the students that opportunity, I think, is huge. And so did they complete 3 products or 2 products? Or I heard you say in ELA and math and science products. So they were working on multiple standards then.
Yes, they had multiple standards, but we created one product. So if you look on your screen, you're seeing where it has cost analysis. That was more in the math part. And then we had the presentation and the photo story. That was, the photo story was in the ELA, and the presentation with the technology teacher and the language arts teacher, they worked in together to make that photo story. But it all engulfed the same project. It was all
Right.
about that aquarium. So not one teacher was bogged down with this checklist of items to get through to get this achieved. It was a really long project, but a very meaningful project as well, because the students were living that career and they
Right.
really enjoyed showing what they could come up with without being told that's what they had to have.
Right. So using all those 21st century skills and I loved it. Sounds like so the only challenge you really had is getting them to be unengaged in the project. Is that
Yes.
what I'm hearing you say?
That is it. That was the biggest, honestly, the most wonderful thing about it was to see the students who are most reserved.
Yeah.
They're taking the work home and coming back with great ideas.
Yeah. So
They're really engaged in it. Yeah.
that's great. So one thing I want to ask you is just what is your plans for using defined learning, moving forward, if we're going to be in a blended or remote learning environment? Can you talk to me a little bit about that?
Yeah, the 5th grade team has already decided to meet at the beginning of August, and I, along with the science teacher, I teach math, so we have looked at what projects we can kind of pace out for the year so that students can do a project a quarter is our hopes, and hit all the standards that we need. So the teachers are looking at less of that formal assessment, more of a project-based learning assessment. So more of an open-ended assessing what the child knows and how they're applying it. So yes, because we're a Google Classroom, we'll be able to post it on there, and we'll be able to post the rubrics as well and have those open discussions in our chat rooms about what it is the kids are seeing, what it is they still need help with. So we're looking forward to it, honestly.
Yeah. So you're able to constantly communicate and collaborate, not only the students internally, but also with the teachers, giving them feedback and using those rubrics, where needed. That's awesome. Thank you so much, Megan, for sharing a little bit about your experience with defined learning. And, it does sound like it will be great moving forward, especially in our remote learning time. I'm going to just go on to talking to Michelle Phillips now more about her middle school experience. And I'm going to just click on 6 through 8 and click on find projects. And just so everyone knows, everything is customizable, everything can be edited. So we're looking at 6th, 7th, and 8th grade performance tasks. Those are housed in those grades based on rigor and then on standards. But if you had some 4th graders who are higher readability level, they could use it. Same thing for some high school students. If they had lower readability levels and you needed to differentiate, once the library is purchased, the students and teachers have access to all of the PBL units here. So Michelle, I'll start with you, kind of going into more of a middle school focus. And if you wouldn't mind, I know you're a little more unique in how you use this with your middle schoolers. So I'm going to ask you to just kind of describe how you use defined learning, and this was in your computer science class, correct?
Yes. My biggest goal with this was to try to help my kids see other careers that use technology. Because most of the computer science curriculum is all kind of based around coding and a little bit of web design. they kind of get in that one-track mind where that's the only career option is to design a website or to design an app, and that's all technology is good for. So I'm just
Right.
trying to shift them away from that and also encourage them to be able to um, really investigate things on their own. Kind of like Megan said, where they're just, I'm the facilitator and they're the ones doing it. So I used this in a way where they could choose any of the projects. And the only piece that I added was that they had to tell me how what we were learning in computer science would link to that career. So it helped them get out of the only option is a web designer and more into all the different types of ways that you can use technology on the job. Some of them linked it to Google because they knew, well, we use Google Slides, so you could use that. Some of them went real into it where one of my students did one of the environmental ones and came up with an idea that you could make an app that could track the animals that you saw in the area. So they kind of like added all of this extra stuff to it, which was really fun.
Mm-hmm.
I used Google Classroom too, and one of my favorite parts was watching the students engage with each other. There was a
Mm-hmm.
lot of really good conversation, and because all the topics they were doing were different, it just kept them really engaged. Like they weren't all doing the same thing. So for middle school, they had that ability to really communicate with each other, and it kept them moving because they needed help, and I wasn't going to tell them the answer. So it was really cool to watch some of them really get into it.
Mm-hmm.
And those conversations they had with each other of, well, you said you were going to do, this project, but how would you use technology in that? And maybe you could do this. And there was just a lot of dialogue that was just amazing
So did
to
they, can
watch.
I interrupt? Did they, Michelle, were they in groups already, or were they individually? Obviously this was very personalized. So there was student voice and choice related to the PBL units that they could produce and complete. But then were they in pairs or groups, or were they working individually?
They were working individually.
But
Yeah, the
doing some
dialogue
really,
was Yep, the dialogue was just kind of natural dialogue that evolved as students would post on Google Classroom or share. I did check-ins in the classroom to make sure they were moving and progressing and on track. And kind of as those things happened, natural dialogue just started happening where they would talk to each other, ask questions of each other. So I thought that was really neat.
Mhm. Mm-hmm. And so did you find any challenges, did the students find any challenges, or did you as the teacher?
Um, Not really, because I did this prior to the shutdown. So this
Right.
was done before that happened. So we didn't really have any challenges. The way my classroom goes though with computer science is it's all kind of a fluid schedule. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a little bit easier to take extra time when needed. I would say the only thing that is kind of what she said in elementary too was trying to get the kids to want to finish up is sometimes a challenge because they want
Right,
to know more.
right, right,
So,
which is a good thing. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So tell me any thoughts on, planning to use this remotely or in the blended learning environment moving forward.
Well, I think this is the perfect program to have for that because it just naturally moves right into being able to be online.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Definitely, it would be helpful if you could present it early on before shutdown. So you could walk the students through, like I walked them through whole group to kind of give them an idea of how to navigate the site and give them an idea of what the components were and things like that. But after you get through that step, my students had no problem at all navigating the site and working through the projects kind of on their own.
Mm-hmm. And because you had more student voice and choice related to these, did you find there were just lots of different tasks they chose? And then lastly, did they present their findings then to the class, or how did that, culminate?
Yeah, at the very end, after they finished, they did a presentation to the class, and we used Google Slides to do the presentation, and then they just included key parts of their project, and then they had to have the final slide had to be that connection piece to how they would use technology
Mm-hmm.
in their jobs. So
Mm-hmm. Well, that sounds fascinating. I mean, I'm sure they learned so much about different careers and how really, tech is embedded in everything now, right? Like you said, it's just so many different, bringing in that career relevance, all of that awareness and exploration that we know is so key to, like Michelle Eller said in the beginning, to really prepare them for, their future, the day after the graduation, whether they're going to college or going straight into a career or a, 2-year tech program, whatever it may be. Using defined learning starting in elementary school is just such a great way to bring in that career awareness and exploration and relevance. So, we're trying to prepare these students for careers that don't even exist, but we know the careers will be very tech-based, and so they'll have to be much more tech savvy than myself, at least, right? So thank you, Michelle, for sharing that. And, we're so excited that the students are so engaged and, having a good time learning, and especially in this remote learning time. So I'm going to stop there, and Philip, just ask you if there's questions. Dr. Eller, is there anything, or Megan Nichols, that we want to add?
No, not at this time on my part. Just terrific presentation, wonderful information from Chickasaw. Thank you so much for sharing all that information with us this morning on the webinar. So kudos to you guys for all the outstanding work. But Mary, I don't have anything else here to close it off on my end.
I would just like to start by saying, one, I'm so very proud of our teachers and the way that they took hold of defined learning and really made it meet the needs of their individual students in their classrooms. So I'd like to say kudos to them.
Yes.
When I presented it to our teachers, I gave them the challenge of at least trying to pick one project to do second semester. And so these were two of our rock stars that really took hold of it and implemented it in their classrooms and in their school buildings. So, I just appreciate them, and I appreciate all the teachers out there that are scrambling and looking for things to do. I do want to say that one of the other reasons that we really liked Defined Learning was that it was simplistic. Everything was there in one spot, and it does have a direct integration with Google Classroom now, so we will not have to take those links and put them in our Google Classrooms. Defined Learning has now made that seamless, which is awesome. Really excited about that. We learned about that yesterday, so that's going to make life a whole lot easier with this next school year, with this being Google Classrooms again as well. I also want to make that we were able to purchase this with the Alabama Middle School Computer Science Programming Grant, and that grant is available every year from the State Department. So if you are looking at purchasing this and trying to figure out how you will purchase this, keep that grant in mind, because that's what helped us with getting the curriculum and the professional development that all comes in one package with it. So if anyone has any questions on how to do that, I'll be glad to help them as well.
Thanks, Michelle. That is super helpful, I'm sure, for anyone listening. And again, you should all be so proud of yourself. You are engaging your students, and if I were, a teacher or a parent in your district, kudos to you for, like Philip said, the amazing work that you guys are doing, and in evolving instruction and keeping students at the forefront of our brains, right? And taking good care of them. So we appreciate all you do. And I know this has been such a challenging time for everyone. So Define Learning is, happy to help support districts with all of their needs. My information is there on the screen. And everyone take care. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much to Chickasaw for presenting with me, and everyone stay healthy and safe. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Chickasaw team. Have a great afternoon. Take care.